so highly of him that he was elected captain 3 years in high school for football. As a football player, he was one of the most unselfish players on the team. He was more concerned about what was best for the team than with what would bring him more attention and praise from others. He played wherever the coaches needed him, including center, running back, linebacker, and defensive back. His willingness to go anywhere he was needed worked to his advantage when he became a coach. He brought to the game a deep personal understanding of both sides of the ball. He was able to look at the field, whether the team was on offense or defense, and see what formations were needed. I think this kind of passed me. I was a high school football player, and I played the line, one of those non-glamour positions, and I definitely don't have the understanding of the game like he did, but my son is a high school quarterback, like the young man back here, over in South Jersey, and he has what my dad had. He sees everything, and I enjoy just watching my son and my dad interact after a football game when he comes over to South Jersey to see him play. And it's, he definitely has a football mind. As I coached him in youth football, and I would send in a play, and he would change it. Or he would change the formation. And afterwards, when he would come out, I said, "What were you thinking?" He said, "Dad, you had the wrong formation." Like, he saw things that I didn't see, which I credit to my dad. After high school, he spent 1 year at Kiski Prep out in Western PA, where he was chosen again captain of the football team. He also lettered in baseball. At the end of the year at Kiski, he applied and was accepted to Bucknell University. He earned his bachelor's degree in both history and English in education. While at Bucknell, he was a two-way starter in his junior and senior years and co-captain his senior year. He also played second base for the baseball team. After college, he spent 2 years as an assistant coach, that's when I was born, at Curtinsville High School in 1958. In his first year there, he was voted Area Coach of the Year. He only spent 1 year at Curtinsville, and he jumped ship and went to the bigger high school across the street, Clearfield, where he led the school to its best record since 1949, and in his third year, he was again voted Area Coach of the Year. He then moved on to Haverhill Horsham, where he stayed for the next 7 years. During this stay, he was area coach 3 times. In his final 2 years, he went 19-2-1. His team won the co-champions in 1971, and he was named Buxmont Coach of the Year in 1970. Then in 1972, my dad found his home at Lower Merion. I remember we had a vote. We looked at, I remember he was looking at Ocean City, and he was looking at Lower Merion. The family wanted to vote on going to Ocean City, but he saw a big thing on the side of the wall at Lower Merion that said Pride, and that stuck with him. And I remember him saying that. He said that was like a sign that he needed to go to Lower Merion. And he had a lot of pride in the school, and he appreciated the fact that pride was a big part of Lower Merion football. His career at Lower Merion ended with the 100th meeting between Lower Merion and Radnor, which I was privileged to watch from the sidelines. That was 18 years ago. It was really neat coming back today and seeing a win. The last game I had seen was the win in that 100th game. 18 years later, I come back and see an exciting end of the game win, which was the same thing that happened in that Radnor game. I think Radnor threw like 4 or 5 balls into the end zone, all incomplete at the end of the game, and Lower Merion hung on and won that game 16-9. It was an honor as a coach and player myself to be on the sidelines that day. His last 10 years, I actually took game film. I came over from South Jersey, where I coached that other sport at the time, which was soccer. He almost threw me out of the family because I did that for like 8 years. I was a football coach on the high school level too. I've done a lot of different things. But he didn't throw me out, and I remember looking up at the press box, and there was Channel 29, Channel 3, they were all there to film the 100th meeting, and I looked at them and I said, do I really need to film this game with all those other cameras? Because I wanted to be down on the sideline with him on his last game. And like I said, it ended up being a win. He compiled 190 of them over his 37-year coaching career. My dad's record is impressive, but he brought more than that to the teams he coached. Our family was involved in all his teams, and his teams became part of our family. My mom missed only one of my dad's football games in 37 years. She was in the hospital giving birth to my brother Michael. Michael, right over here. Interesting enough, that was at Clearfield High School, and the hospital overlooked the football field. My mom opened the window and listened to the game that day. My brothers and sisters and I also attended every game except when we were competing in our own games. In his 39 years, including the 2 years that he was an assistant coach, I know my mom drug me along to every game when I was tiny, but I came over from South Jersey every weekend and either did stats. Some of these guys remember me on the sidelines, former football players doing stats or filming. And I think I missed 2 games of his in all those years. The coaches' meetings and team dinners were as much part of our family in the fall. I have great memories about the coaching staff coming over to the house for dinners, looking at films on Sundays. The wins and the records are important and deserve recognition, but it's the integrity, hard work, and sense of family that my dad brought to every team and that I consider his true legacy in the sport of football. My dad had a huge impact on my life. I watched him coach and I learned so many important lessons that have shaped my career. I became a teacher and a coach because I wanted to follow in his footsteps. My dad is the most honest, upright person I know. He taught me how to pick and shape leaders and how to rely on the right people and expect hard work from my athletes and myself in order to succeed. My dad deserves this honor because he has been a great coach, but more importantly, because he's been a great influence not only on me, but on the thousands of young athletes that he's touched over the years. We have been fortunate to play and learn from him about the game of football and how to live a fulfilling life. And at this time, I want one of his former players, Pete Murray, as his dad said, when he just found out today he was going to say something, his dad said, "Suck it up, Pete."